Hello, grade 10. Welcome to our English class. We are now on week 5 of quarter 1. This is Ma'am Fanny Luna, your MDL English teacher. For this week's episode, we have the lesson title, Analytical Listening in Problem Solving. For the most essential learning competency, we are expected to employ analytical listening in problem solving. We are very much familiar with the 4 macro skills of language and communication. This can be done through written and spoken and can be delivered as input and output. We have the listening and speaking, reading, and writing. The newly added macro skill is what we call viewing. Listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. It is the key to all effective communication. Without the ability to listen effectively, messages are easily misunderstood. As a result, communication breaks down and the sender of the message can easily become frustrated or irritated. To listen is to give attention to sound or action. When listening, one is hearing what others are saying and trying to understand what it means. Listening can be a useful skill for different problems, but it is essential to resolve conflict. Poor listening can lead to misinterpretations, thus causing conflict or a dispute. Other causes can be excessive interruptions, inattention, hearing what you want to hear, mentally composing a response, and having a closed mind. Analytical listening is about the ability and the capacity to properly analyze what is being said. This not only means understanding what the other person is saying and what they mean to say, but also being able to divide difficult questions into separate parts in order to get to the core. On the other hand, when we say problem solving, it is the act of defining a problem, determining the cause of the problem, identifying, prioritizing, and selecting alternatives for a solution, and implementing a solution. Here is the sequential process in analytical listening. We have here the receiving stage, going to the understanding stage, leading to the evaluating stage, and then proceeding to the responding stage, going to the remembering stage, and going back to the receiving stage. When we say receiving stage, it refers to the actual hearing process. In here, the listener has to check him or herself if he or she is able to hear clearly the sounds and other sound points. Next is what we call the understanding stage. Understanding stage focuses on generating meaning on what has been heard. In here, the connection on communication between the listener and the speaker must be clearly established. This constitutes the idea that the understanding of the speaker must be the same with the listener. Next stage is what we call the evaluating stage. This requires both the listener and the speaker to meet in between regarding the points portrayed in the listening process. This allows the listener to critically examine the details of the information heard. This provides the time for information segregation. Another stage is what we call the responding stage. It allows the listeners to provide verbal and/or nonverbal feedback and responses based on the listening context. We have here the remembering stage. It is a personal stage for the listener, allowing his or her to integrate in him or herself the information heard. This also allows him or her to record in his or her system the information listened to for future access and use. This time, how are we going to use analytical listening in problem solving? So we have here an illustration dealing with the problem. First and foremost, what we have to do is to identify the problem. After identifying the problem, our target is to look for the solution. How can we do that? So here is what we are going to do. In solving a problem in a listening text, the first task is to identify the problem. From the listening text, find the answers for the following questions: who, what, how, when, where, and why. According to American Society for Quality in 2020, there are 4 steps in solving a problem which include the following. Number 1, define the problem. Number 2, generate alternative solutions. Number 3, evaluate and select an alternative. And number 4, implement and follow up on the solution. Here is the link for our Google quiz. We are now done with our video lesson for Week 5, Quarter 1. And here are the references used in creating this video lesson. So we have the Pivot 4A, English 10, Quarter 1, Week 5, pages 23 to 27. Here is the list of the links of our references in creating this video lesson. That's all for this episode. This is Mom Fanny Luna, your MDL English teacher. Happy learning. Keep safe, everyone.